Hey guys, welcome to I think this is our seventh class, or our seventh episode, where I want to just talk to you guys about shapes and help you understand what shapes are and how to use them and maybe even how to manipulate some of them when you need to. So, first things first is let's create a layer, right? And then let's make this layer hidden and let's come here, take our circle and maybe give that a color that is bright and beautiful. And then let's duplicate that. So to duplicate, use Ctrl J. So this is fine. I'm just going to pick another color. So these two colors are really bright. So remember, we can clip mask this like this. But I just want to show you guys how to work with, shapes. So you need to come to this edit. There's something I want to show you guys now. You can warp shapes. You can manipulate shapes in such a way that make them unique, right? So we're going to go to transform. We can skew this shape. So skewing basically means that we can, just adjust the shape according to what we see fit at that time. So see, for example, I don't have to draw this. I just skew the shape, apply, and I have this little amazing looking shape. I'm just going to go back so you guys can see that we started from the circle. I'm going to come again to perspective. So perspective is it's more about if I was seeing this circle from a particular perspective, what would it look like? So that's what this is about. I'm just having fun. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to go back. You're going to go back to edit. If we're going to So if I was to use warp, so warp is more like I can manipulate the shape and add more Beziers. So Beziers are like curves. So see, I'm adding curves to this. I could just do something like this. Instead of having to draw the shape from scratch, see what it's doing for me. It's giving me a bunch of tools. So if I accept this, so this looks really cool, right? I know, right? Like, it took me less than a second and I already got something looking really cool. So if I was to do something else for maybe a rectangle. Okay, so you might be thinking, how do you get those handles to show up? That's just press Ctrl T and the handles will show up, and you may not need to go to edit. You could just right click on this and you see all those tools will be here. So because of the fact that it's a circle, if we rotate it 160 degrees, you won't actually see the difference. So I'm just going to use a rectangle. I'm going to do this. Now watch what happens. Because I now have a rectangle, watch what goes on. So now I can easily just right click on this and, select the rectangle, do my Ctrl T, right click again. If I rotate it, see what happens. I could manipulate it as much as I want. I could rotate it if I wanted to. I don't really even need to click that rotate button, because if I did this, if I didn't set it to rotate and I just set it to free transform, I could do this and I could still rotate it. If I wanted to skew it, I could press Control and I could still skew it. See, guys? So there's just a bunch of things. If I'm here and I just press Alt, it will scale together. It will scale together. Now, if I wanted it to scale the same size, I'm just going to come up here and click and then just hold Alt. It will scale the same size. But if I don't click this and I just did this, see what happened? Great. So if I wanted to warp this, I could come up here and just click warp and then do something like this, and then just apply. See, I have a really cool looking thing. Same way I could do Ctrl T and then just click warp and start to make the changes that I wanted. So the reason why you're not seeing anything here is because it's not a 3D shape, so it doesn't have depth. It just has length, breadth, and all those things. So I'm just gonna come here, gonna adjust this shape to give me something that I want, and then I'm gonna let it go. So see, just a bunch of cool stuff that I could do. To be honest, it's been a long time since I used all these shapes, but I'm thinking I'm gonna do some really cool stuff with shapes right now. So access to, so you have access to rectangle, rounded rectangle, polygon. So there's this really cool thing that I don't know if most people know. If you wanted to create a triangle, you just had to click once, not while you're on a rectangle, sorry. You come to polygon, right? And then you click once, excuse my system, and then it will show you this dialog box. You just click 3 and it will bring it up, and then you just do this. I know, really beautiful, right? So there we go. If you wanted to create like a hexagon, you could just click 6 and it will bring that shape up. See? So you may want to hold Alt and Shift together so it doesn't scale weirdly, but that's about it, really. So we're going to delete this. Then let's look at the line tool. So the line tool is simply what it says. I'm just going to show you this. I don't really use this tool because I tend to draw all my lines with my pen tool. So this just gives me a line. See? Just a line. I don't use it so much, so I don't really come to that tool. The custom shape tool basically gives me access to a bunch of cool shapes. So when I say cool shapes, what I basically mean is now I can draw this shape because that's the shape that's selected over here. I'm going to come here, click another shape, and I'm going to do this. So I don't need to stress myself to create all these shapes because they're already created. See? Cool, right? I know. But that about brings us to the end of shapes and how they work. You can also still do the warp thing, the scale, the distort, whatever thing that I did for the circle or the rectangle, you can do it for these items too. All right, guys. Ciao.